Welcome back to the Hank Strange Situation, Lifestyles of the Locked and Loaded.
Make sure to check out hankstrange.com. You can sign up for our email list and find ways to follow and support our efforts.
I want to make sure I ask you this the first time. This thing that happened to you, you didn't start. I know you did never, probably you never expected something like this to happen, but you just didn't come to this moment right then when it happened, right? There was things in your life that happened that prepared you for this moment, if that's the best way to put it. Can you, talk to us a little bit about that? Explain to us what you did when it came to training or preparedness before this happened.
Well, for first off, is when I was like 5 years old, my father taught me how to shoot with a 513 Remington T, 513 T, which was a target rifle, and he taught me firearm safety. He taught me marksmanship. We used to shoot tin cans, and when I got a little older, I was hunting rabbits and coyotes to help to protect our livestock and stuff.
Okay, I'm trying to see if I could pull up. Is it this?
It's a bolt action. Yes, yes,
Oh,
with
cool.
no scope. It's
With no
so
scope. Okay.
that was actually my father's very first gun, and
Mhm.
he passed it to me when I was 5 years old. And taught, like I say, I shot rabbits for food, and my friends and I would go out and we'd pass through a certain field where there was a lot of cactus, and we knew there was a lot of cottontail rabbits, and
Mhm.
we'd hunt those rabbits, and we had a cast iron pot that we would cut them up and put them in there and fix rabbit chili out there in the
Oh,
field.
wow. Nice.
Uh,
Okay.
so, and then he bought me a Winchester single shot 410 breakover, and I started bird hunting with that. So at a very young age, I was, living on a farm, and firearms were kind of a way of life. And when I got to be an adult, I started shooting, and I shot with he was a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. He was a chaplain.
Hmm.
And when he saw how I shot, he said, "You're pretty good. Have you ever thought about shooting in competition?" And I said, "Oh, I'm not good enough for competition." And he said, "Well, if you don't start shooting competition, you'll never be good enough for competition."
Hmm.
And
Okay.
so he started getting me into a local range, and I would encourage people to do that. And this local range had league shooting, once a week shooting. And it wasn't IDPA or anything like that. It was they would, each week they would think of something in their heads to get you, and they you had to have a team of five to compete. And so uh, one week to the next, you'd walk out and you'd have no clue what they were doing.
Mhm.
And so, just for instance, one week we walked out, they had a plastic baby doll on the table and a box of diapers. It's like, oh, what have they got us doing this week? Well, the whistle blew, and you were to take the diaper off of the baby that was on the table,
Mhm.
grab a diaper out of the package, diaper the baby, throw it up on your weak hand shoulder,
Mhm.
and engage targets while you were walking, shielding the baby away from the targets.
Hmm.
And if you stopped to
Mhm.
take that shot, they added another 5 seconds to your time. And at the end of the table, you switch the baby to your strong shoulder.
Hmm.
Now you had to pick up the gun and reload and rechamber with the table, and then re-engage the targets walking back through, this time with your weak hand only, shielding the baby away from the targets. And then at the end, they took the time and converted it into score and stuff.
Mhm.
And then another time we walked out, and there was a canister of earplugs on the table and a welding hood. They said you won't need your earmuffs because they won't work with welding hood. And when the whistle blew, you had the welding hood on. They said, this week we're going to practice low light training. So when you pull up your welding hood, you could see your hands and the pistol through the welding shield, but it was dark, and so you couldn't see your sights. You could see the outline of everything, and you could see the silhouette target behind, and it also emulates tunnel vision, so you had to move your head back and forth because you're looking through this little welding glass. And so it's practicing low light training, and it's
And this
really,
was, how did you get involved in this? Because this sounds pretty cool. Was this part of, you said the chaplain invited you
well,
to this? This was,
a chaplain told me that I should find competition and start competing.
mm-hmm.
And so this local shooting range would do this every week.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so we came up with a shooting team, and we called ourselves, we were all part of the same church. We called ourselves the sinners, because sin in the Bible, the word sin is taken from a word that means, it's an archery term meaning missing the target.
Okay.
And so
I think I heard that the first time from you when we met a few weekends ago. Yeah, I never knew that.
So we called ourselves the sinners, and we started competing together. And one of our sinners was a former Army Ranger and a San Antonio police officer. And in between competitions, him and I would go out and we would train together to make ourselves better competing and stuff. So for 3 weeks straight, he trained me what to do if ever confronted with body armor.
Okay.
And why would a plumber have ever needed to know what to do if ever confronted with body armor? I think God had a purpose for that training. And so for 3 weeks straight, he taught me, he said, shoot them in the armor, they'll feel it. Look for your chance, put one in the side, one in the hips, and one in the legs. He'd say the one in the side will kill him. The one in the hips is what we call an anchor shot. It'll stop him. The one in the legs will slow him down. And when he started moving and shooting at me, I hit him in the body armor, and he felt it. He ran for his vehicle that was parked in the middle of the street with the driver's side door open and the engine running. When he turned to his side, I put one in his side, high in his side. I put one in his legs, and he got in the vehicle, and he put 2 shots through the side window. I put one where I perceived his head to be because I couldn't see it because of the reflection of the glass. But I knew where his head was, and it broke right underneath the helmet, right across his forehead, right underneath the brim of the helmet.
Wow.
He accelerated, he turned the corner, and he ran as fast as his vehicle could take him down the road. I got in the middle of the street. By the time I got in the middle of the street, he was about 150 yards away. I put one through the back windshield. It went through the driver's side seat, and it hit him right at the left shoulder blade as he topped the hill and out of sight. But that training meant everything on that day. And it's really interesting because I was invited to the governor's roundtable meeting after the El Paso shooting, and I found out that there were 8 concealed carry permit holders in that Walmart that day. None of them confronted the shooter. They got their families out of the Walmart safely, and that's honorable, and that's great. And I think the reason that they didn't engage a shooter was probably because they didn't have the training and the right mindset.
Now, just to refresh my memory, there was a Walmart close by. Were you in the? No, you weren't in the Walmart, right?
Oh, this
No.
was a different situation.
Oh, this is
In
a
El-
different situation we're talking about. Okay, all right, I got it. Okay.
in El Paso, Texas. There
Oh,
was a
that's
Walmart.
okay. Yes. I know what you're talking. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, sorry about that. Right, go ahead.
My bad, I didn't go in. But
Mm-hmm.
at that shooting, and I was asked to the roundtable meeting
Mm-hmm.
after that shooting, and the governor basically we found out that there were 8 concealed permit holders in that Walmart
Mm-hmm.
that got their families out safe, but they didn't confront the shooter, and it's probably because of lack of training.
Yeah.
You know, if I don't believe there should be training to exercise your Second Amendment rights. Don't
Mm-hmm.
get me wrong. I
Mm-hmm.
believe you have the Second Amendment right to carry if you never take any training. But I truly believe that if you are responsible, you'll go get some training, because otherwise you're not going to engage a shooter.
Right,
If you're going
training creates instinct. If you know, that's what training is. It creates an instinct. So when something happens, you don't think, you react based on your training.
and and this is perfect because you were talking about that it is a martial art.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I would say that I believe that 100%, because somebody before the shooting ever happened to me, somebody said, because I used to train classes, he said, "How do you know that you would react if something ever happened?" And I
Mm-hmm.
would always tell people, I don't know that I would react. You can't know that
Mm-hmm.
you're going to react. But just like when you're taking, say, taekwondo or karate or something, each time that you advance to another belt, you have to show your proficiency in certain amount of moves to be able to advance to the next. You're not fighting somebody when you're showing that proficiency. And you're practicing. And why do you practice? Well, if somebody throws a punch like this, you know how to swat it away.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have to think in your head, oh, he just threw a punch at me,
Mm-hmm.
I need, then you will be reacting to his actions, and it won't be fast enough. But if
Yeah.
you practice it enough time, the muscle memory, your subconscious mind takes over, and you react quickly
Mm-hmm.
because you don't have to think about it. And it's the same thing with firearms training and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You will learn to run into gunfire, if you will. You will know what to do when you do, and you're a whole lot more likely to win that gunfight. So that
Yeah.
guy had multiple loaded magazines, multiple guns, and I ran across the street with 8 rounds. But the training that I went through before that day won the day.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to be a responsible gun owner and you think that you might be the sheepdog, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
that will protect and that will run into a battle,
Mm-hmm.
then you better start training today. Otherwise, you will be reactive. And if you get your family out safely, that's good. That's
Mm-hmm.
honorable. That's cool. But if I would have been in that Walmart situation, and I can say this and people believe me because I've run into gunfire before. If I would have been in that Walmart, I would have told my family, hit the door, run, don't look back, don't worry about me. I'll confront the shooter. And that gives my family, because if I'm confronting the shooter, he's not worried about my family. And my family is more likely to escape with their lives. And I may save your family also.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure to check out hankstrange.com. You can sign up for our email list and find ways to follow and support our efforts.